Hi, welcome to this video. I'm David, or Fellmandave, and this is my son Josh, and we just wanted to bring you a brief video with two simple exercises for hiking and backpacking. So why do this video? Well, if like me you do lots of regular walking and running and you've got a reasonable cardiovascular base, but it's always a big shock when once a month you do a hike up a steep hill carrying say 14 kilograms. So we wanted to give you some exercises that'll help to get your body used for that activity. So why is Fellmandave and Josh qualified to give you this kind of advice? Well, my day job is over 30 years as a lower limb musculoskeletal specialist, and I'm currently doing a master's degree in clinical gait analysis. And Josh, what are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm currently in my third year of university doing sports and exercise science. I've had around a year of clinical experience in sports massage therapy, and I've got a really keen interest in gym training. I plan to progress this on to strength and conditioning at a master's level, so I feel like we're well equipped to take the video on.
Yeah, so we've put our heads together, so stick around for these key exercises. Cheers. So before we get into these, if you have any pre-existing conditions or injuries, please consult your musculoskeletal physician or your GP. And if any of these exercises cause pain or irritate an existing injury, please desist or radically reduce the volume that you're doing. So the idea of these exercises is that you find your base level first, and they should be progressive. So typically when we're out on a long day's hiking, we might do over 20,000 steps. So perhaps just doing 10 reps of an exercise once a week isn't realistic. So you've got to start from a point that's right for you and keep building and building and building to a high volume. So we're aiming that you should do these exercises at least 3 times a week. Make sure you've got an adequate period of recovery in between, and add no more than 10% of overall volume per week. So for instance, if you were doing 10 reps of an exercise, next week just add 1 rep. So the progression is nice and steady. So the time that you're going to spend is up to you, but we would expect that you're spending half an hour 3 times a week, and that should get a good base strength level. Thanks.
We recommend doing some warm-up exercises before beginning the working sets to get blood within muscle and raise the muscle temperature. You can start with doing arm swings to open up the chest muscles, as well as making sure that the shoulder remains active and stable throughout the working sets. Do 30 reps, nice and controlled, at about this rate of tempo. Right, so we're now going to be taking you through 2 exercises. As David mentioned before, they're going to be progressive in nature, and they're essentially going to mean that you're going to be ready for the hill. There'll be a focus around injury prevention as well as improving strength. It's going to mean that overall you're going to have a stable core, be well equipped to handle different terrain.
Exercise 1 is the single leg squat. You're going to do 3 sets, going to moderate fatigue at the end of the 3rd set. Josh would be quite comfortable doing a lot, but for advice I would suggest you try 3 times 5 to start off with, find your base level. He's not putting any weight on the front foot as he goes down, and he's keeping his upper body upright and going down vertically and back up. Beginner upper body exercise is press ups. So Josh is keeping his body nice and straight, going all the way down. And again, you're going to be doing 3 sets. So at a beginner level, 3 to 5 press-ups 3 times should be enough. So if you just hold it there, Josh, and at the end of your set of press-ups, you're going to hold a nice, straight, steady plank for a good 10 seconds, I would suggest, as a beginner, and adding, as we said, 10% per week. When you've mastered the beginner level, it's time to move on to intermediate single leg squats, and we're adding a round the clock factor now. So Josh is moving as far as he can. He's not putting any weight on the foot that dips down, and he's trying to move down vertically as far as possible, keeping his upper body upright. So this is great to challenge all of the muscles around the pelvis and lower limb, adding great stability to your pelvis to help you carry that backpack on your hips and to prepare for uphill and downhill maneuvers. It's quite challenging. So begin with going once round the clock and then add as you progress. For intermediate upper body, we are still doing press ups, but at the end of that press up and in between we are doing alternate leg raises. Try and get that as far as possible, keep the leg nice and straight. You should have built up to around 3 sets of 10 to 12 ordinary press ups before attempting this exercise. Try and keep really good form. So as you're at the 10 to 12 point here, we're going to build in onto the plank arm raises. That can be out to the side or extending forward. Which one's harder, Josh? Side or forward?
I'd say pretty easy.
The advanced leg maneuver is to use a small step. We've just got some gym mat blocks here that goes up about 10 to 12 centimeters. You could use something slightly higher if you want more challenge. Again, remember to keep the upper body upright and dip down. The advantage of using something narrow here is Josh can actually get right round after he's done one side and get to the opposing side. And of course, with these exercises, don't forget to do both legs. This is something I find particularly hard, is when descending. The stability involved in using a heavy rucksack is really challenging, so I think this is going to help. And I really need to do these because in my last video, you can't see it, but when I was in that Macaloo tent, I was getting loads of cramps in the tent at night, and I think doing this kind of exercise as preparation is going to help me significantly. When you've done the intermediate progression onto 3 times 10 press ups with leg out and the plank with arm out, you can progress onto this advanced maneuver, which is the press up with Superman. As you can see, Josh is holding good body form and is doing alternate arms and legs. These are very challenging. Start off with 2 or 3 of these. Having done that, if you want to hold the plank for a short while, you can, up to 30 seconds, and make sure you have an adequate rest between sets, because these are a very challenging exercise. Josh has just done about 8 there before moving on to a plank, and then he'll rest and do another set. So we hope you've enjoyed that video, and these exercises will help you to enjoy your next trip to the hills and remain injury free and cramp free. So in terms of progression, Josh?
Yep, so the important thing we want to make sure is you're not running before you can walk. So as we've advised before, just make sure you take things at your own pace, don't push yourself too much, and we hope that you have a good time up on the hill.
Fantastic. And each week it should build. That's the important thing. Thanks very much.